Hello everybody. Things are not what they seem. This world is filled with lies. Nothing but lies. Nothing is as it seems. Take it all in. Take in the lies, everybody. What does this lie say to you? You know what this lie is? It's cake. But that's not all this video is. It is also a review. That's right. It's so tasty. This is a review about the movie It. Now excuse me as I deal with these lies. Hello everybody. I'm back done with those lies. I'm going to introduce you to Monkey, my cat. Okay, fine, go on. She is what she seems, unlike It. You know what it is. You know. It's a freaking clown. Now, I have other things to discuss about it in my review. I was at the theater recently, and I'm thinking where to begin. You know what? I'm going to take another moment. Back from my moment. Now, please forgive the noises you hear in the background. My family's busy watching a British mystery thing. I do not live on my own. I'm sure there are a few YouTubers that do. I am not like them. They're doing pretty good. But things are expensive right now. It's more affordable to live with family. Well, at the theater, I went to the movie. It is actually really good. I had a really good experience there. I saw the previous series on YouTube before because it was put on there for free. And now I've seen the new movie, and I gotta tell you, it holds up very well next to its original. It's actually quite impressive. It's one of those movies where it'd be more scary if you were actually the one being chased by it. Mainly because of its abilities. But it's when you know it's not you, it's less scary. It's kind of like watching Cujo. It's more scary if you're the one who's on the wrong end of that dog. Well, what I gotta say about it is, I like the special effects. They're, I'm not really good with big words, so maybe the word engrossing might be wrong. You know, it's where, you know, all your focus is brought in. It's immersive. Well, I enjoyed it. Personally. This is my personal opinion. Yours is your own, but mine is mine. The characters, their bond was pretty awesome. And, well, like how they got there. I'm not going to tell you the entirety of the movie for risk of spoilers. There are minor spoilers, so if you don't want that, well, then just turn off the video or switch to another video or whatever. Just skip it right now. Well, basically, it's basically a creature from space that feeds on children. Anyone who's seen any part or read the book or anything knows that. I don't know how it connects with the other Stephen King stories. And some of the connections to me are just not there to be seen, really. I didn't perceive any sense of connection. But as far as a standalone movie, it's interesting, not just because of the horror aspect, but because of other parts of it, like how different the characters are, how different the scare tactics are, such as like using different phobia to different people. Pretty cool. Personally, I think it made some mistakes. For example, it united them under the fear of Pennywise the Clown. But that means they all had that in common. They could kind of bond over a common enemy. I think it should have never revealed itself. I think when he tried to feed, he should have attacked as the monster he was presenting himself as, not as it or as Pennywise. He shouldn't have revealed that they're all seeing the exact same kind of thing. Splitting them up's a good move, but here's my thought on it. I feel like it's inconsistent. It's got all this power. Heck, it can form multiple arms out of its own face in one scene. You get to see that. It's something else. It looks like some straight of hentai. Yes, I watched that and enjoy it a lot. Here's another thing. Why is it that I can't take them on as a group? There are monsters that can do that. Stephen King has monsters that can do that. I mean, look at what Carrie did all by herself. In the movie of the same name, Carrie. Heck, look at Christine. She singled them out, but wow. Randall Flagg, by himself, look at what he did. And yet, it can't seem to handle much. What's funny about it, also, is that Pennywise goes to sleep right after he eats. I don't get that. Why does he sleep? He can't do anything. As far as monsters go, he's stranded on Earth should something go wrong. What happens if... Oh, what's a good scenario? Let's say there's a military base around that town. There probably is. The Derry has its own military base. What if there's a toxin that's being stored there that gets let out and kills everybody, and that means men, women, and children? It will be without food. It needs better options. So, what's it to do? That's just personal thoughts on its preference in hunting grounds. And I have other thoughts I need to bring up that I'll sort out in just a moment. And I decided what I want to bring up next. After going to see it in the theaters, I want to discuss what I'd like to see in future movies if Stephen King truly does decide to do a connected universe. Things I'd like to see that I have not seen in his previous works. I'd like to see the connections be made a little bit more concrete. And how to go about this. I'd like to see direct crossovers. I mean, I know some people were super smart and could spot a character by name and stuff, but unless I see a character, it just won't register up here. So I gotta like really see all that. Which in previous ones, like seeing a picture on a wall or something, I don't notice always what's in the background. I look at the foreground. Usually comic book movies such as The Avengers have covered this and did this quite well. And I like how they do it. That was my cat. If you heard a meow over the speakers, over my fan, that was my cat. And I know some people who like the Ghostbusters might think I'm saying Michael Hatt. No. And I'm bringing that up because well, you know, if you didn't see the movie Ghostbusters, Just watch. Chris Hemsworth says the name of his dog, and they confuse it for him talking about a cat. It was pretty good. It's fun watching that movie. I veered off topic because I was distracted by my house cat, who I introduced earlier in the movie. My door opened, she headed up into my windowsills, destroying my blinds, and is cute. You saw that face. That's the face of a munchkin. She is a munchkin cat. If there's a person doing a theory on my videos, he's figured it out because I said munchkin cat. It would not be Matt Pat doing this because, honestly, he's got better things to do. An R-rated Spider-Man thing is what I saw last, and I'm thinking, get on that, Matt Pat. R-rated Spider-Man sounds fun. Now, I veered off track again, and I apologize to people who don't like it when people veer off track, but I will do that. Now, back to my suggestions I was giving to Stephen King for future work. I really don't expect you to actually see or even care or even scour the internet to watch anything of what I have to say. But I do want other people who may have a similar train of thought, or some at least in the same neighborhood, to find this video and be like, yeah, I'm not the only one. Cool. Who thought this idea? For example, I mentioned Christine and Carrie. I thought that'd be hilarious. For example, Christine sees Carrie as a rival. Well, it's because Carrie has no idea what the hell Christine is and thinks it's just a freaking car. Well, Christine tries to gas her like she did the one go, because that almost worked. Christine blows the door off. And that's just where it gets started. Christine tries to run over Carrie. Carrie literally telekinetically flattens the car and just walks over it. And then you hear the car come back together again as Carrie just walks over, just stepping on Christine as she walks over. The flattened, paper-thin Christine. Carrie just goes on her merry way. I think it'd make for a good horror comedy, more like a Stephen King style comedy. Now I know some people are thinking, Stephen King's in the business of horror. You know, part of horror is a tone shift. When there's a tone shift, you don't see it coming. One of my major criticisms of Stephen King would be, you're an awesome writer, Stephen King, and awesome. Horror comes when you don't expect it. Danger that is unforeseen. Look at why the kids in your stories are scared. They don't understand what they're going up against. They're absolutely terrified, up until the point that the kids get used to the monster, and then they murder it. And, well, they're scared because they don't understand it or see it coming. And we're watching it, the start. And, you know, you're glad that you have an audience, and that's pretty awesome. I'm glad that you showed appreciation for the audience viewing your movie. So, that's not the problem. But you also had an opportunity that you didn't take. You see, you were like, for your intro, because you did it, but here's how I saw it. Enjoy the movie, if you can. That very statement of, if you can, with that tone of voice, alerted me that there's something to watch out for, therefore I'm always expecting a scare. For example, there were multiple scenes in the movie where there was darkness behind the main characters, where my eyes didn't look at the main characters, I was looking directly behind them. I was waiting for something. When you're scared, you're not supposed to be waiting for what's going to come, you're supposed to be dreading it. You're not supposed to anticipate it. You're supposed to be like, okay, where is it coming from? I wasn't thinking about where, I was thinking about when. Watching a jostling undead thing come down the stairs and it's a mummy. Well, it looks kind of silly in a way. I mean, it'd be scary if I was the one there, but it's one of those that it scares the character, but it doesn't scare me, the viewer. Now, as far as storytelling goes, I didn't so much find it as scary as interesting. Now, what would be scary is if it did more than just touch on fear, but rattled my senses. Anymore, I've seen some of your movies, and I'm always waiting for the scary part. Or maybe it's not a part that should be scary, so much as there should be build-up and payoff. But I believe build-up and payoff just isn't quite the right way to go about it either, because everyone expects build-up now. I mean, heck, have you ever watched, you know what, I'm gonna have to go back to game theory, because Stephen King, you do great work. In fact, you kind of the pioneer of horror. Well, kind of, is just bear in mind I said kind of. I want you to watch Frame by Frame on Game Theory when you get the chance, and watch horror. I hope they do a sequel regarding your movies versus, let's say, Ridley Scott or someone else. I want you to watch those frame by frames, because you might catch something that might just improve what you're already trying to accomplish. I was in the theater today, and people weren't scared, but they were intrigued. So you got that going for you. But people are expecting fear from you, okay? They're expecting something to be afraid of. But we're accustomed to it. Heck, have you ever watched Hybrid Network? I don't think you're an internet person, but if you are, I really would like you to really look at these things, because we've been analyzing, well, not me, but other people who are really good at it, who are absolutely dedicated to comic books and anything else. Like Game Theory, Hybrid Network. I'm sure there's some other guys I did not watch. But you gotta watch all these theories, and then you gotta surprise us with something we didn't see coming. I never saw the movie The Dark Tower, but I did see a scene in The Dark Tower that showed Pennywise. The boy was seeing Pennywise, and I'm thinking, was Pennywise gonna make contact? I never actually saw the movie, but I will see it when it comes out on video. But as far as connections go, I did see a connection to it in The Dark Tower in the previews. However, when I did go to it, I saw no connections to The Dark Tower. And I liked how you didn't use the spider imagery, really. I've come to expect the spider. I think that showed up when they were kids, or maybe that shows up when they're adults. I should rewatch that scene. Oh, and on the scale of your cosmic critters, I feel like from what I've seen so far, it's kind of barren. For example, on the cosmic scale, what do we have? We have a turtle of creation who's choked on 3 galaxies. And we have Pennywise the spider who can easily get beat by, what, a number of kids that's above 2. And then he goes to sleep right after he eats. It's like, really? What's going to happen when he's got to leave Earth? What happens if he stays awake past his meal? Does he just run out of energy faster? Is he lethargic like a snake? It feels like he's not very energy efficient. I mean, if he were to stay awake after eating, would he just plain get super groggy? He seems to have a lot of limitations. For something so cosmic, why is he so tired? Or why, I mean, he's so hungry, but then he gets so sleepy. It's like, what if he didn't have to eat? He'd never wake up. He would technically never be a threat. I mean, he's always asleep. There was a time before he headed to Earth, and he seemed more active back then. What the heck's he doing here? I mean, he seemed to be doing decent before. It just seems like heading to Earth is a bad idea, really. I mean, so he feeds off of fear here, but it seems like he's not getting a lot out of it. Or is he hibernating, waiting for something so, he can pounce? He's like trying to conserve energy for something greater. And I'm not convinced that's connected to the Stand. I feel like it should be connected to the Stand. I mean, am I supposed to believe that Pennywise is rooted in Derry? That he can't move out? That it can't move out of Derry? I mean, if I was it and I was in Derry, what I would do? I'd get out during the events of the Stand. You know why? Look at how many people were killed by that infection, by that sickness in the Stand. If I were Pennywise, I'd be pissed. Because think about it. He's killed women, children, he's killed men, he's killed too many, he's killed so much of the population. Pennywise needs food. Now can you imagine if you're Pennywise, right? Okay? Now imagine yourself, and then you discover you wake up and your food supply has literally been killed off before you even had a chance to eat. Well, wouldn't you want to go out there and find the thing that literally killed your entire farm, your food bank, your pantry? You're Pennywise, so as far as you're concerned, the entire town of Derry is like your pantry or something. And you're pissed. I mean, you just lost like a lifetime supply of food. All you have to do is you gotta scare the food, make it more scared, and then feed. Now they're dead. That food ain't good anymore. Who's to blame? You're Pennywise. You sense a supernatural presence. Actually you're it. You sense a supernatural presence. What are you going to do? You're going to follow it because it's responsible for your food being gone. And what do? You track it. And then you find Randall Flagg. You can sense energy and power coming from him. And then you realize it's that guy. It's that dick. He literally basically killed your food supply. During the events of the Stand, I should have seen a really angry clown walking up on stage, as angry as a Looney Tunes character after Bugs Bunny beats him up, with no effort. You should be like super angry. Pennywise should have been like trampling aboard the stage, like stomping right in a clownish kind of manner, and literally pushing through the crowd, all those throngs of crowds at the stage. Pennywise should have been walking up there completely PO'd, angry, and being like, "You killed my food supply," or something like that. So yeah, I'm not convinced that the events of it are connected to the events of the Stand. If they were, I think we'd be seeing an interesting scene, don't you? And I'm not convinced that all the stories are connected to each other. Or what about having a character that travels a bit more? He goes to Derry. He deals with Pennywise, with it. So he moves, he grows up, his family moves, he survives it, he moves, and this is after the events of that series, after the events of the movie It. Anyway, this guy moves to another town, finds another monster. He actually beats this one. And he's like, okay, well, if I move, I won't have to deal with this, because there's probably more than one monster in this other town too. So he moves to the big city and finds something to fear in the big city too. At this point, he's reached a point where he's like completely desensitized by it. Not just by it, but by every it there is. By all the monsters, because there's like so many. And monsters that feed off of fear realize that they can't scare him anymore. Then they discover why. Because he's encountered other monsters and has grown numb to it. In the same way, the audience has somewhat grown numb to some of the scares in your movies. But I thought, what if that became an attribute of a main character? He continuously runs into monsters, aliens, cosmic beings, and this guy has become so desensitized that monsters that depend on fear to hunt can't do anything with him. Now, this is a thought for like a concept, because I think it could be amusing too. I mean, a tone shift. Because think about it, you get these people who are running scared in a few movies, and this guy comes walking in. He literally stares down the monster, and he has this look of a guy who has seen this before. Maybe not this exact thing before, but he's been through a similar situation again, and one too many times. Now, people might think, well, that would ruin the movie. You don't know that. There are a lot of things we think that will happen, but then we discover we like it. Like that first time you eat sushi. You think, oh my, it's going to be bad. Then you discover it's good. Or the first time you're a little kid, you eat green veggies. Then you discover they don't taste that bad. Well, what if it turns out that this kind of scene doesn't take away from the movie, but adds another level to it? What if it turns out that it is not a bad idea? That's my thought. You know, people are, whenever I talk about an idea, they always think, well, that would make sure there's no movie, practically. It's because they expect the movie to follow a certain track. I say people have gotten so used to that track that it might not work anymore. People will get tired of it. You've got to change it up, Stephen King. You've got to twist it. You got to do something no one expects. And I'm not talking about an M. Night Shyamalan twist. Do a Stephen King twist. Do something that's your own. Heck, have a nightmare where Pennywise meets Carrie. I've been wanting to see a good versus, but I want it to be kind of a scary versus, where Carrie sees her mom come back, but Pennywise misinterprets the fear, but instead of inciting fear, he incites anger, and Carrie turns it inside out. And everybody's watching as Carrie does this, and they're not afraid of it anymore. They're not afraid of their normal fears. They're more afraid of a girl who's angry at a clown. And it can feel it. I mean, it comes back. It's just, because it can shapeshift, but it is not prepared for that. And have it where Carrie can't really stay home. She can't find a place to live because she keeps on revealing who she is. I thought, she had to move from her home. She would also be another kind of traveling character who could connect stories. So could Christine. You know who else I'd like to see cross paths? I'm bringing up Carrie a lot because think about it. She's got no home. That I have not seen where she goes in the end. I don't think she dies. I mean, the house collapsed, but that don't mean she was in the house when it collapsed. I think she collapsed it. I think she hated the memories. So she just used her immense telekinetic power and just ended it. She ended the memories. She just wants it gone, done with, fresh start. That's what I think she did. She probably put on a disguise. Probably left. There's so many things you could do. You know the girl from Firestarter? What if her and Carrie met? Or Carrie learns about her father. I would like to see a sort of no one starts out crazy like her mother did. What made her mother go so crazy? Was it her father? Maybe the answers are in the book. But I never read the book. I did read another one of Stephen King's books, though. It's one where it's about this king, and there's these two boys. One's a fat boy who learns nothing. The other one is taught by this princess, or by this queen. That being a king is equivalent to being a giant. I forgot what it was, but it was a really good book. And this wizard, every 100 years he comes back, and he only ages 10 years at a time. This book was written by Stephen King. Has a implied sex scene. I read this one in school. It's actually really good. It was a good read. Basically, the kid gets ousted from the kingdom by his fat brother being taught by the wizard. That one should be a movie. That'd be interesting. With Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War coming out and everything, it could work with kind of a bit of an interest in fantasy. So Stephen King, you could do that. That's a good story. It might connect a few dots. What I'm saying is you have a lot of opportunity, and I would like you to look into them.